And we will start pulling up this one. This is 3.4 17/10. We'll look at the question and I'll tell you if it's a test question or not. No, it's not a test question, but they want you to find the interquartile range. I believe that's what they're asking. So what you do, I'm just going to pull up the formula. It's q sub 3 minus q sub 1 or something. Hold on. Come on. Where is it? There it is. Write down that little formula. That's the formula I told y'all to find in your notebook or your book, in which y'all didn't do because y'all suck. Interquartile range is equal to what? Q sub 3 minus what? Q sub 1. Write that down. I know it's a hard formula, and you have to open your book and you have to actually turn to the page. So interquartile range is q sub 3 minus q sub 1. Then you take that and you multiply it in another formula. So I'm going to give you that formula, then I'm going to give you the other formula, and then we'll do it. Again, is it a test question? No. But you need it for your homework, so we'll go over it. So everybody remember that. Let's see if I can get the next one to come up.
Z-score is on the test.
Yeah, Z-score is going to be all over the test.
Okay, can we go over that?
No, I'm not going over it today. Where's the other formula? Come on, come on.
Yeah.
There it is.
When do we have to be done with the test? Like when do we?
I'm going to go over all that today. Why are you going to ask questions? I ain't even went over the test yet. Why are you going to ask those questions? I tell you what, let's ask all the test questions, then I'll go over the test, then I'll go over all those questions. Let's go ahead and ask the questions now so I can go over them twice. Be quiet. All right, there's the other two. Write it down. Lower fence, lower parameter. Okay, it's just like doing the standard deviation. You know how you subtract on the left and you add on the right? Same thing with the upper range and the lower range. Okay, so you got three formulas for the interquartile range. The interquartile range, interquartile IQR, is equal to Q sub 3 minus Q sub 1. Your median of your top half minus the median of your bottom half. All right? Then you take that interquartile range and you plug it in here. Now what that gives you is your lower limit and your upper limit. Anything outside of that is called a what? An outlier. It's just a complicated way of getting the outliers without having to go through the curve and the standard deviation. It's used whenever you don't know the standard deviation. Capiche? So you need to write those two down. I'm going to snip them. And I can bring them up on the whiteboard and we'll do that. So I'll have them. Because I'm lazy this morning. It's raining. It's one of those days I wish I could have just stayed in bed. But then I would have felt guilty. Okay, so that's that. So let's go back to the question. All right, here's the question. Let me pull it up in our handy dandy. Let me move this out of the way and make it maximized. There we go. So you don't know the standard deviation. So they want you to find what is an outlier. Well, if you don't know the standard deviation, you use the interquartile range or the 5-number summary. The interquartile range is equal to Q sub 3 minus Q sub 1. So that's going to be equal to 529.1 minus 273.8. Okay, now what? Go ahead and somebody give me that number.
255.3.
I heard 255.3. All right, circle that because you're going to plug that into your interquartile range. Now, if you look at the 5-number summary, all right, you got your number line, you got your mid-range, and then you got your what? Your box plot. That number right here is your Q sub 1. This right here is your Q sub what? 3. So those are the two numbers you're going to use. Here you're going to subtract. Here you're going to what? Add. And that's going to give you your outer limits for your outlier because you don't have standard deviation. Also funny. Give me a complex. All right, so that's going to be your upper limit or your lower limit is going to be, what is it? Q sub 1 minus, what is it? 1.5 times interquartile range, which is 255.3. And the Q sub 1 is whatever that number is, 273.8. 273.8. Now make sure you put this in parentheses because the calculator, even though some of y'all sacrifice live animals to it, it's not God. Okay, it's not. It can't tell order of operations by the way you put it in. Some of y'all put them in weird and it just blows it up. So make sure you put the second part in parentheses. Okay. And somebody give me that number. I heard voodoo. When I hear somebody enunciate and have volume, I'll write it down. But right now,
109.15.
Okay, one more time. What?
109.15.
Well, somebody check it. Huh? It's negative? Yeah, that makes a difference. Okay, what else? Is that what everybody got? All right, now the next one, upper limit. The upper limit is going to be the Q sub 3. So that's Q sub 3, which is, what is it, 529.1? 529.1 plus, because we got to add on this side, plus 1.5 times 255.3. No more coughing. You got to lay off the Marlboro Reds. You ever heard somebody cough up their lung? All right, so, and what is that? Negative 109 is down here, so that'd be negative 109 right there. And what's over here? What's this one?
912.05.
912 is good enough for government work. So 912 is over here. So, what's 913? What's negative 110? Okay, so that's what they're going to ask you. Okay, I don't know what the questions ask you. They scare me because some of these questions are written by a Philadelphia lawyer. And you can't tell what they're asking half the time. So, provide an interpretation of the results. Choose the correct answer below. 75%. Okay, this is based on, this is what quartile? This is the 25th percentile. This is the what? 50th percentile. And this is the what? 75th percentile. So they might be asking you about that. 75% of the states have a violent crime rate that is 273 crimes per 1,000 or less. 50% of the states have a crime that is less than 387. Crime, blah, blah, blah. And 25% have a crime rate that is 529. That could be a possibility. 25% of the states have a violent crime rate that is 7. Or less. 75% of the state, no. No, I don't think that one's right. Okay, this one may be right. 25%, well, 25%, no. I think it's this one. Wait a minute, 75% of the state. No, that's not right either, because if you look, what they're asking you is this. Go back to this. I made her mad. Look, she's leaving. Okay, remember this is 0%. This is around 25%. This is around 50%. This is around 75%. So what they're asking, when you've got this number right here, that means that 25% of the population is to the left, and what's to the right? 75%. Here, 50% of the population. So one of these is saying that, and I can't, I don't know if, I don't think it's A, because it says 75% of the crime rate is 273 or less. Well, 273 or less is right here. See, this is 273, this is 387, and this is 529. So that can't be right, okay? So it's either B or C. 25% of the states have a violent crime rate that is 273 or what? Less. I believe it's B, but I'm trying to find the distinction between B and C. It says one's more, so I think it's B. You have to really read these because, like I said, they're written by lawyers. They're not written by mathematicians. I think it's B. And I feel good about myself. What's next? Determine and interpret the interquartile range. We said that the interquartile range is equal to 255.3. And it says type is integer or decimal. It doesn't say to round, so whatever. Interpret the interquartile range. Let me move this out of the way. I don't know if I'll be able to, but yep, move some of it out of the way. Move this out of the way. There we go. All observations have a range of 255 per. The middle 50% of observations has a 1.13. The middle 50% of all observations have a range of the interquartile range is the 75th minus the 25th. I would think C. It would be the middle 50% and middle 50%. So let's go with C. And we feel good about ourselves. And the lower fence is, what was our lower? 109 negative 0.15. And the top percent is 912 point what? 05. And it's going to ask for outlier probably. Violent crime rate. Would 1400 be an outlier? Yes. That would probably be Chicago. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not supposed to mention Chicago. I'm sorry. Chicago's crime rate you're not supposed to mention because it's got the highest, it's got the strictest gun rates, gun policies in the nation. You know that? It's the hardest state to get a gun if you're a legal person. It's the hardest state to get a gun, but they got the highest crime rate. Over 2,000 people have been shot in Chicago to this day, or this year. I think it's climbing too. But shh, don't say nothing. It's kind of like who's got the. I'll tell you this little bit of trivia, and you'll like it. What state has the highest drug rate and the highest homeless population of all the states in the United States? Huh? No, it does start with C. It's where all them people want economic equality. California, yeah. That's where all the Hollywood actors are. You know, they're rich, but they want economic equality. But they're the homeless population. They got the highest homeless population. So evidently they're not giving away their money. Wonder why? I guess it's other people's money they want to give away. Some of y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. But anyway, there's a lot of people in Hollywood that want everybody to make the same income. That's about like y'all, everybody making the same grade. So for the people that really study their butts off, you give some of your grade to the sandbaggers that don't. Okay, so Chicago is pretty much, yes, because greater the upper fence. Okay, do you believe that the distribution of violent crime rates is skewed or symmetric? Well, if you've got, it looks like to me with a negative 109, it looks like there's something going on. I don't think it's normally distributed. You would have to know what the minimum 278, 273, 387, they really don't give you enough information. But I would say it's probably, if negative 109, it's probably skewed right. Now, I may be wrong, but since you got a negative 109, I think it's skewed right. Unless yep, because of that big negative. If this number is normal, like a positive 15, then it's probably going to be a little bit skewed right or skewed left. Okay, because most of the data is on the left-hand side. Skewed right, I'm sorry. Skewed left, yeah, skewed left. If it's like 0, then it's going to be like symmetric. That's why this is not a good test question, because it really doesn't give you enough information. Now, when is it a good test question? When they're wanting you to find the outlier. This question right here, I can't find it. Where is it? Yeah, right there. That question right there is good. The violent crime rate is 1467. Would this be an outlier? That's a good question. If the question just said, find the upper range and the lower, find the upper limit and the lower limit, and is this an outlier? I would put it on test. But the first question and the last question, what does it do to students? It confuses students. So that's why I don't put it on test. Now, if y'all want me to put it on test, I will. What do y'all think? Some of y'all don't care. All right. Yeah, whatever. All right, so any questions on that? You want to do another one? Okay, well, go ahead and write this one down and you can do it at home. How about that? Write these. I don't care about the just questions. Just write it down. Yeah, 272.8, 387.9, and 529.1. And all I want you to do, one, find the interquartile range, upper and lower limit, and then pick a number like 1400 and ask if it's an outlier. Those are the three main things that you need to do with this type question. I could care less about that last skewed left or skewed right, because technically I don't think there's enough information.
Find what?
Huh?
Find what?
Find the interquartile range, find the upper and lower limit, and then think up a number and ask if it's the outlier or not. And since you got these numbers that coincide with the last numbers, I would use like 1200 or 1500, because that's what they're going to ask. Let's see, let's hit that one. Continue. Okay, can somebody think up the interquartile range right quick? What's 529.1 minus 272.8? I'm sorry, what?
255.3.
Is it the same?
I don't understand.
Is it not 255.3?
It's 256.
250 what?
6.
Point? Oh, well, that's nice. And then middle observation right there, D. And there we go. Somebody calculate the upper and the lower, or the lower and the upper. The upper limit and the lower limit. Somebody give me the lower limit first. Round to 2 decimal places. And what's the up? Did everybody get that? Yes or no? I just need a yes or no. Okay, we got one yes. All right. What's the upper limit?
913.50.
I have a second on that.
Yes.
Okay. And we got that, and then it's asked for, okay, what about 1679? Yes, it is an outlier. It is greater than the upper fence, the upper limit. Well, since we got another negative, what'd I say it was? Skewed what, right? Okay, we feel good now? Okay. Now let's look and see if I can find another test question. Like I say, I don't think I've got another one here, but I'll look. There's one right there, but let's see. That's 3.2, number 23/9. Okay, we did this one, I believe, didn't we? Okay, we did that one. Okay. Let me see if there's any new ones in the inbox that IT is supposed to be working on. Let me pull in Ask My Instructor. Ask My Instructor. Let me just do date and see if, well, these are all 109s.
I registered to vote on Snapchat yesterday.
I don't see any,
Yes.
at least in the last couple of days. Let me see if these are, no.
It's very good.
Huh?
Her page is very good. Bless her heart.
What are y'all talking about?
It's all Rachel Page, Sarah Page.
Yeah, she got questions. All right, so let's go to the test. So this is when y'all need to like pay attention, okay? So let's go to the test. Where is 120? There it is. And let's pull up the test. And today is the 26th. Now this is how I do all my tests. So I go to Course Tools. I pull up Assignment Manager. I pull up Test. Let's see. Nope. I don't need to talk to you. I'm in a class. Show test. Y'all supposed to go into hysterics when my phone goes off. You're supposed to lock me out. What is it? Take my phone or lock me out of class or tell me to leave or
Take it to the office.
is that what it is?
And make your parents go.
There was an English teacher who.
Yeah, they make your parents go.
No, I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about Kitty Land. I'm talking about here.
Her phone went off in her backpack and the teacher had to leave. And she had been there for over an hour and she found her ass.
That's retardicus. All right. Today is the 20 what? 26. Right here. And that means I'll give y'all a week to do it. 26. And that'll go there. Why do I give y'all a week to do it? Because the 5 flat tires, 5 dead grandmothers, the house flooded, the house struck lightning. Okay? The house struck lightning, yeah. So, give you 3 attempts, and it takes the higher of what? 3. Give you 90 minutes, because some of y'all, takes y'all 15 minutes to take to hit the start button. So, and save and assign. Boom! Now everybody knows what? And look, it's even on My Labs Plus. There it is right there. Start date, due date, and when you click on it, it actually gives you more information about the test. All right, so let's go to the homework now. Since I've started the test, let's go to the homework. And that's, let's see, change dates. And this is all chapter 1, 2, and 3, right? 1, 2, and 3. And always give y'all 1 day. I always give you 1 day that you can come back and ask questions. So the meeting before, when is it? The 6th, the 4th, or what day? What's today?
The 26th.
Okay, where's September? Okay, there it is. So that means y'all don't come Friday. So that means Monday is the last day. for that. And update. And now, when you go back to your main menu and your calendar, wherever the calendar is, I don't know where the calendar is.
Where's under math?
Oh, there, thank you. When you pull up the calendar, oh my gosh, look at there. You can hold, oh my gosh, look. It says test is available. And then look what it has down here. Due. And then it has right here, due. So from here out, if you ask me when's the test due, I'm going to say, I have no idea. And we'll show you another trick I learned in the war. You go back here and go to assignments. Where's assignments? Quizzes and tests. And look at there. It has due date right there. It has 90 minutes, and I got 3 times to complete it. So there's 3 DA questions right there I get. Okay, when's it due? How much time do we have? And how many times do we have to do it? And then if you click on it, look at there. You don't have to take it. You just click on it. You just click on it, and it tells you the due date. It tells you how many attempts, and it says I have 75 minutes left. Wow. So there's 3 different ways for you to tell if it's due, how much time you got, and how many times you got to take it. You see why I don't answer questions when they're dumb DA questions? Yes, ma'am.
After you take it, first or second time, can you see what you made?
It'll tell you right after you turn it in. That's the good thing about it. And this thing, and you know what? This thing, like some of y'all I don't like, and that's a joke. All right. It don't tell what color you are. It doesn't tell if you're a male or female. It doesn't tell if you wear hats or not. It doesn't tell if you wear flip-flops or not. If you failed the test, you failed the test. If you made A on the test, you made A on the test. So that takes away all the ambiguity of the paper and pencil test. Okay? If you have a challenge question, what's a challenge question? I think we've already done this. What's the challenge question?
A decimal off, but
I'm sorry, I heard a little bit.
a decimal off, what you got right now?
Something that you believe that you what? Need. You should get right. Okay? Then you come to me after class or before class and we look at it. You don't call my cell phone 15 times. What if lightning strikes your house, or how does the house strikes the lightning? What do you do? Do you freak out and call me 15 times? No, you just tell me at the next class and I'll reset it for you. You still have 2 other what? Attempts. That's what it's for. It's for you not to call me at home and freak out. When should you freak out? You shouldn't. Okay, now let's talk to the 2 or 3 students that's going to do exactly what I tell you not to do. What are you going to do? You're going to wait till the last minute to do all 3 tests, or try to do all 3 tests. That's when lightning is going to strike your house. Unfortunately, when you log on to your test, what does it tell me? It tells me what time you logged in. So let's say Johnny decides he wants to take the test, and the test ends midnight. What day? October 3rd. He goes in at 10 o'clock and decides he's going to start taking the test. What is Murphy's Law?
Everything bad that happens will happen.
Exactly. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. How many of you have tried to print out a term paper right before English class and the printer breaks down? Or you run out of paper, or the printer won't work, or the computer freezes up? That's Murphy's Law. Okay, if you wait till 1 hour before midnight to do a test, I'm just going to do it one time, I know how to do it. Lightning's going to strike your home, your computer, flood's going to come, and your grandmother's going to die 5 times. Okay, I'm serious. Do not do that, because if you call me up and freak out and say, Hubert, first of all, I'm going to ignore it. Okay? Then you're going to come to me after class and say, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I got it incomplete. First thing I'm going to do is pull up your test and look and see when you logged in to take it. If you logged in at 11 o'clock to take a test that ended at 12, you're on your own. You get a 0 for that test because you pushed it. Everybody should give themselves 24 hours That's the longest you should procrastinate, 24 hours. So that way, if something happens and you call me up at 8 o'clock the morning the test and say, something's wrong with my test, then I'll go in and I'll reset it and I won't say a word. Okay? Or I'll tell you, see me after class. Well, the deadline, I'll take care of the deadline. Okay? You just see me after class. If I don't worry about it, then what? You don't need to worry about it. And that there's very, very few things that I can't take care of in this, with the dates, with the number of times you take it, with your grade. There's not anything I can't control in this, my test and my homework. You get it? Okay, so if you're a legitimate, if you're not a procrastinator, then yes, I'll go in and change it. But if you call me up or come to me freaking out, and I look on there and you took it like 11:30, you're on your own. Okay, finish the test. I must have started it. I think we did this at the beginning of the semester. Now, I'm going to go in and you can write down some of them, but we're not going to do some of the longer ones, okay? Because I don't know how much time. I ain't got much time left. So anyway, there it is. Write down those numbers if you want to. What I'm trying to show you is what the test looks like. It looks like your homework. And what types of questions I'm going to ask. You should not see A through F on my test. If you do, then I'll take it out. Okay? Now, let me explain to you what happens. I put in 10 questions per question. So on a 10-question test, there's 100 questions it has to pull from. Okay? So nobody's going to get the same test. Nobody's going to get the same question on the same. If you're sitting beside each other down in the computer lab and you pull up number 1, your number 1 may look like your number 15. Your number 15 may look like your number 3. Okay? But they'll be similar. They're not going to be the same numbers because they algorithmically generate. So your 5x, your number 15, maybe your number 3, and yours will say negative 7x. Okay? It'll regenerate. Then it pulls from another question. So your number 15 say find the mean. Your number 15 may say find the standard deviation. Pulls from different questions. Okay? So it's kind of like snowflakes. What a word. Okay, snowflakes. Snowflakes are all what? Unique. So is these tests. Okay, so if you want to help each other and take up time helping a sandbagger, more power to you. But if both of you study and both of you do your homework and you want to help each other out, the best way to learn is to what? Teach. Okay, so I'm all for that. But don't be helping a sandbagger. You got somebody sitting beside you, what is the standard deviation? I'm sorry, I'm taking my test. If you don't know what, after 3 weeks of what the standard deviation is, you're on your own. And that's the way it is in the real world. Okay? How many of you have had the lab partner that doesn't do anything? That lab partner follows you in the real world. That lab partner is in the real world, and he's going to be sitting beside you, and it's usually a he. I'm sorry. Okay? It's usually a he or airhead, one of the two. Airhead can be both genders. But it's usually a he or an airhead. Okay? And they'll come to you right at the last minute. You got your report done? Yeah, I got my report done. I did it last week. Oh, well, can you help me? No, you're on your own. Okay? That's the way it is out in the real world. So don't be doing the coddling sandbaggers. Don't be doing that because they need to grow their own pair. Okay? All right. So that's 5. So see, you got 5 or what is it? 6, 5, 5. Okay, so boom. That's that. Next one. Although covered in the handouts in the first day of class, what is the best way to communicate with Hubert? His cell phone.
I have a question for the person.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
What were the
Sorry.
the symbols?
Okay, what they're asking you is find the population. What is the population parameter? Population parameters are usually Greek what? Letters. Okay? So you would not pick B, and you would not pick B here, because that's what kind of a letter? That's a regular letter, so that's a sample. The reason I picked this question is how many questions are in this one? 2 questions. The question of what is a population parameter and what is the sample statistic. That question is in this question. So if you pick B and you type in the right answer, you're going to get it wrong because B is a what statistic? It's a sample. B here is this is the variance, this is the what? Standard deviation. So you need to make it, and I don't go over this a lot, but anytime you see sigma squared or S squared, that's the variance. And what do you do to the variance to get the standard deviation? Take the square root. But you got to read it. Population, you're going to pick the Greek letter. So that's 2 questions in one. And I do a lot of that. So that way you don't have 50 questions on the test. Okay, we did that. Okay, a highly selective boarding school will only admit students who place at least 2.5 standard deviations above the mean on the standardized test, has a mean of 100 and standard deviation 24. Boom, draw a curve. So put a note on this, draw a curve.
So you put 100 in the middle of it?
Yep. So that would be 100, 124, 148, 70 what? 6, and what's this one? 20 what?
52.
52. Okay, so this is normal. That's normal. And they say what? 2.5. Okay, they must want you to. Okay, 2.5. So that's going to be here. So 3 would be 148 plus 24 is what? 74? Okay, find the middle between these two. What's 148 plus 174 divided by 2? What is it?
It's 160.
What?
It's 160, but it's supposed to be 172.
148 was
Thank you. What is it supposed to be right here?
160.
160. So that's how many? Well, this is 1 standard deviation. That's 2 standard deviations. This would be what?
2.5.
2.5. So the score to get you in would be 160 or what? Above. I think that's what they're asking. What is the minimum score? So 160. Next. When is the last day of this class? I'm offended. It's the only answer that makes what? Sense. When does the homework terminate? Toward the end of the material. 0. No, I do not. Oh, 0 goes in its place. We already answered these. He awards me extra points. 20, 10, 50, 20. The only one that equals what? If you miss a question on the test and believe it's correct, what should you do? Ask Hubert after class. It's not, okay. Determine whether the qualitative variable, this is another nested problem, okay? It tells you, okay, this is qualitative, amount of snowfall in a year, okay? How do you measure, well, I just told you the answer. How do you measure snowfall?
Inches.
Okay, what is inches?
It's a measurement.
A measurement of distance, right? Is that counting?
Yes. No, that's
It's measuring. I just told you. There's measure and count. Measure is continuous. I saw that. Measure is continuous. Counting is what? Discrete. Remember that. I told you that the first day. I meant the first day we went over this. Discrete and measurement. 2 different things. If you measure, it's continuous. If you count, it's discrete. How many eggs are in a carton? Is that discrete or continuous? It's discrete. If you measure the height, weight, distance, whatever, that's always continuous. So which one does it say continuous? Which one? C? Because it's not countable. Thank you. If you take several forms, how is it counted? Highest grade. I will take you are a loser and he fails you. I will take that as an answer. Okay, what is this one? Oh boy. If you miss this one, do not what? tell anybody. This is worse than missing one of the bonus questions, all right? 20, you got to put it in what? Order. So, but it looks like 20 minus 3 is what? 17. Does Hubert replace your lowest grade with the final exam grade? No way, no how. I'm giving y'all the answers to these so you don't what? Somebody will. A certain standardized test math scores have a bell-shaped distribution with a mean of 530 and standard deviation of 105. A through C. Remember I told you, very rarely do I go over D. Okay, this is empirical rule. Draw a picture. Do it. Empirical rule. I told you the page that it was on. I told you to memorize it. That's the 34, 34, 13.5, 13.5, 2.5, 2.5. And if you can't do it, then you are not only a disappointment, but you're a failure. Thank you. Y'all do listen to me sometimes, don't you? Tropical Storm Kirk. Where's Tropical Storm Kirk?
No.
Do y'all even watch the news? I know one person in here does.
They caught some guy from Horry County behind Brewster yesterday. Like some guy had a warrant.
Was it a hot speed chase?
Yeah.
Where I was in the middle
The
of
helicopter went over my house. There was like 2 of them.
It was cops in like minivans, like regular minivans. It was
Only in Anderson do people get excited about.
Yeah, like the helicopter, like I was outside with my dogs, and then the helicopter.
Like they,
What did it do?
they crashed a police cruiser into it. Stop.
Good.
Because they said he was born.
If they killed him, there'd be one less one to worry about. That's why I could not be a policeman. If somebody was, running away from a bank robbery or something, I just shoot them and shoot for the head, because then you won't have to pay for the, for the incarceration, or you won't have to pay for it. If we did that, how much what would the crime rate be? Same as the crime rate in Lounsville and Winston and Tomasi Salem. What's the crime rate in South Iowa, Lounsville, and none? You know why? Because if you try to break into somebody's house in Winston, Tomasi Salem, or Lounsville and Iowa, guess what? They're gonna kill your ass. They don't ask you, are you supposed to be here? This is my house. You're not supposed to be here. I'm going to call 911. No, they're going to blow your head off.
Come on in, take whatever you want.
Yeah, come on in, take whatever you want. Why do you lock your doors anyway? Racist. You're not supposed to lock your doors. Let everybody in.
They're trying to make it to where if somebody breaks into your house, you shoot them and you get charged because you have an unfair advantage.
That is hilarious. You have an unfair advantage. It's your house. Yeah, unfair advantage. 530. They must be from California. 105 plus 530 is 635. And 635 plus 105 is 740. Okay, somebody subtract for me on this side.
425.
What?
425 and 320.
And 320?
Yeah.
Okay, now what does it say? What percentage of standardized test scores between 425 and 635? Well, 425 and 635 is 34 plus 34 is 68. Now, if you're asking yourself, where'd you get the 34? Then you didn't follow my directions. I told you to look up empirical rule. I told you to memorize it. What page did I tell you it was on? Or don't tell me.
130.
Thank you. You listened that day. Thank you very much. The rest of you that don't know what the 132 is, you suck. All right, so that's 68. That's a joke. I'm not picking on anybody. Y'all have the advantage. I have the advantage. Yeah, you should not lock your doors, because if you lock your doors, you're putting up a wall between you and the people you don't want in your house. So you're a racist. Okay? What percentage of standardized test scores is less than 425? So that's 13.5 and 2.5, which is 16, and 16 on the other side. Now, you got to be careful here because this question, I remember this question because I don't agree with it. What does that say right here? Or. That does not mean and. It all depends on what your definition of is. Who said that? Bill Clinton. That guy that did all that molesting and nobody said anything about it.
Sexual.
Yeah, I did not have sexual relations with that person. I like Bill Clinton myself. I like him. I think he's hilarious. But you know, but he can do stuff, and it's a what? It's okay. Oh, we don't believe those women. We don't believe those women. But you have this guy that's getting Kavanaugh, and this woman comes from nowhere and says, I don't remember the time, I don't remember the place, don't remember where it happened, but he touched me.
It's like the same with witch trials, they're like.
Somebody said
This says or. Now, or means what? It could be this, or it could be this. Not both. All right, so if it says or, then that means 16% either way. Does not mean 32%. Okay? Does everybody understand that? Or means either this side or what? That side. 16% should be the answer. Now, I had a problem with this question. I don't know if the student had a problem with it or I had a problem with it, but I hope it's not going to say 32 because 32 is not correct. Because 32 would be correct if this word was what? And. Okay? What percentage of standard is greater than 740? 2.5. And that's all come from the empirical rule that I told you to learn. Okay, I'm not going to do this one, but write those numbers down. Another 5. And it's asking this time, what is the population what? Where's the Greek letter? Mu. So you would pick mu. If you put the right letter, put the right number on X, it's going to mark it wrong. A nested question. 4, 7, 13, 19, 17. Make sure you make a note. Population, mu. The company frequency distributions risk square footage of a sample 500 houses that are owner occupied and year round. Approximate the mean and standard deviation. Okay, this is, okay, remember us doing this? Mean and standard deviation. So you got to find the midpoint. That'll be X. And then you don't need this anymore after you find X. And then you do F times X. So we did 2 or 3 of these problems. Okay, so they're in your notes. Okay, I'll give you the formula right quick. Okay, I've got time. Class is over at 9:25, right? Okay. Well, some of y'all were like fidgeting. I didn't know if something was wrong or something. All right, the mean. Somebody tell me what the mean is. The summation of F times what? X over the summation of F, or what's the summation of F called? N. That's the mean. The standard deviation is equal to, and I'm going to put the square root symbol because I'm not going to put the variance, then put the standard deviation. It's the N times the summation of what? F times X squared minus the summation of F times X what? Quantity squared. Now remember, this right here is in brackets because you got to multiply that N because that first number has to be bigger. Why?
So it's not a negative number.
So it's not a negative number. You can't take the square root of a negative number. Now we went over a couple of those questions. Now, what if you're one of these people, oh, I don't want to do it. Then you send me those questions, in the homework, you send me those questions, or tell me you want me to go over this Monday, and I'll go over it. Okay? Don't freak out, because even if I give it to you Monday, you still got how many days to take your test? 2 days. Remember, I do not set you up to freak out. Who sets them up? Who sets the environment to freak out? You do. By waiting until 12 o'clock. Okay? All right, y'all got that written down? Everybody got it? Take a picture if you need to. Nobody taking a picture, so everybody's got it. Okay. All right, let me go. Let me try to finish out. I've only got 10 more. Some of them are bonuses, so be all right. If you look at your overall grade one day, and it has decreased from several days ago, I will take C, but the answer is D. If your in your grade book, to find a grade after all the grade assignments, you hit overall grade. That's pretty much. What's the only email address that makes sense and the only number that makes sense? See? Yeah, that you can call that. And I basically call you bad names and tell you that you should quit. All right, here you go. The following data represents blah, 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 blah. Find the what? 5-number summary and construct a box plot. So write those numbers down. Just write them down. I'm not going to pull them up. Just write them down because I don't have time. Again, if you want to go over this Monday, send it to me when you get to the homework, and I'll go over it. So if there's anything you feel hinky on, then send it to me. Wishy-washy. You're not confident. You wear sunglasses inside. Or you put stuff on your car that makes no sense. Dang old $10,000 worth of audio and video equipment in a $1,000 car. That makes a lot of sense. All right? Y'all got them down? Take a picture if you need to. I need to go on. Got 6 more problems. What should a student do if something happens, and if they are out of school for a while, more than a week, like a funeral, a high school event, a wreck, coma? Somebody needs to what? Call. Somebody needs to communicate with the school or communicate with the teachers or whatever. What would happen? Who in here works? All right, where do you work? Croak drugs. All right. If you, heaven forbid, something happened, you have to go to a funeral or a wreck or whatever, would somebody call your work? Your mom and dad, wouldn't they call your work?
Probably, if she knew I was working.
Well, yeah, but you work every day, don't you? Okay, well, you don't count. Who works every day? Okay, where do you work? Okay, well, you don't count either. All right, where do you work? Okay, stringer and Will, you work for Will? Yeah. Okay, tell Will I said hey. Anyway, he'll probably say, huh. That's what he said, huh. He don't talk very much. Anyway, he's got a memory like an elephant, though. Yeah, very smart. Cantankerous, but smart. He's like his daddy. Yeah.
He can be real funny.
Yeah. Anyway, make a long story short, you let's say that something happens to you. What happens if you don't call in to work? You would get written up. Somebody would say, look, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Your employer, when you're in academia, is your teachers. Okay? You have to communicate with your teachers. Boom, that's it. This is for the student that calls me a week after grade turn-in and tells me that they went on a cruise and that's why they missed the 3rd unit test, even though I give everybody a week at the end of the semester to make up for any test or homework that they've missed. I give them a week. I open up everything. Open up everything. And they didn't do it. Yes, sir.
What's the dad syndrome? Are we going over that?
No, I quit going over that because people got offended. Dumbass disorder. When redneck disorder is redneck ass disorder. Anyway, when is the week of finals? It's the only one. Quack. I have ducks, and when I was writing this, one of them was quacking. When I wrote that one, I remember that one.
That is beautiful.
Yep. If you have incomplete assignments and Hubert puts a 0 in for the grade, what will that 0 do to your grade? Make it better, yeah. Oh, this is a student that came up to me at the end of the semester and said, oh, so if we don't turn in an assignment, we get a 0?
Oh my God. Who is
Again, this person is not that dumb. This person is trying to what? Act dumb. And when do they usually act dumb? After grade turn in. And everybody knows B. And there's another one if you want to take a picture of it. But this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, have you noticed I keep giving you odd? I give it odd. Why? Because it's easier to find the median. I'm trying to help you out there. So, determine whether this is qualitative or quantitative. It's quantitative because does the measure of your height mean something? Yes, it means that you're this tall or you're this tall. Okay, so it means something. So it's quantitative. A, yeah, thank you. If that's what, yeah. And that's it. So let's check and see what we made. Oh, then it asks you have 5 unanswered questions. It even tells you if you haven't completed. And I know which 5 that is. Those are the ones I didn't know. So even if I don't answer 5, I still got a what on the test? An 80. Will people turn in? Oh, there's 15 bonus questions. So how many questions we got on the whole test? How many questions were there? 26? 4 points apiece. Okay, somebody take 4 times 15.
60.
Everybody should make a 60 or better on this test. Will they?
No.
No. Y'all have a good day.